The alarm sounded throughout Orbital Repair Station Delta 9, a sharp, blaring noise that made Captain Olivia Summers jump in her chair. Her coffee splashed onto the control panel. She quickly wiped it away and checked the screens. "What's going on?" she asked, her voice steady despite the sudden rush of adrenaline. Sam Peters, the young radar technician with curly red hair, pointed at his screen. His eyes were wide. "Something big just came out of nowhere, Captain. About 200 miles from our position. It's not one of ours." Olivia leaned forward. The object on the screen was massive, at least 3 times the size of the largest Earth ship. Its shape was like nothing she had ever seen before, with curved sections that seemed to flow into each other without clear edges. "Send out the alert. Start first contact protocols," she ordered, trying to keep her voice calm. Inside, her heart was racing. This was not a drill. This was the real thing. The station's crew moved quickly. Some were scared, others excited. No one had expected to meet aliens today. Earth had been sending signals into space for over 100 years, but no one had answered until now. The strange ship slowed as it approached, stopping at a safe distance. It made no aggressive moves. That was a good sign. "We're getting a transmission," called out Mia Johnson from the communication station. She was new, only 3 months on the job, but she worked the controls like an expert. I think they're trying to speak English." The main screen flickered, and an image appeared. The being on the screen was tall, with 6 limbs and blue-gray, skin that seemed to shimmer slightly. Its head was oblong, with 4 eyes placed in a diamond pattern. It wore something that might have been a uniform, though the design was strange to human eyes. "Greetings, Earth Station," the alien said. Its voice had an odd musical quality, but the words were clear enough. "I am High Engineer Zaxtil of the Vexari ship Celestial Wanderer. We request your assistance." The room fell silent. Olivia stepped forward. "This is Captain Olivia Summers of Orbital Repair Station Delta 9. We welcome you to Earth space. How can we assist you?" The alien, Zaxtil, made a gesture with its upper limbs that might have been a bow. "Our propulsion system was damaged in a spatial anomaly. We require repairs before we can continue our journey." Olivia frowned slightly. "We're honored by your request, High Engineer, but I'm curious. Our scans show your ship passed several star systems before reaching Earth. Didn't they have repair facilities?" The 4 alien eyes blinked in sequence. "Yes, we passed 3 of our own repair stations. We chose to come here." "May I ask why?" Zaxtil made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Word travels quickly through the stars about human ingenuity. We wish to see it for ourselves." Within hours, the massive alien vessel was carefully guided into the largest repair bay on Delta 9. The bay had been designed to hold Earth's biggest ships, but the Celestial Wanderer barely fit. Its hull gleamed under the bright lights covered in strange symbols and patterns. Frank Collins walked slowly around the damaged section of the ship. He was the oldest engineer on the station, with gray hair and hands made rough by decades of work. His eyes narrowed as he studied the twisted metal and burned components. "This is odd," he muttered to himself. "The damage pattern. It doesn't look right." Behind him, a group of the alien visitors watched. They were taller than humans, with their 6 limbs and strange eyes. They spoke among themselves in quick, chirping sounds. "What do you mean it doesn't look right?" asked Rick Adams, a younger engineer who often worked with Frank. Frank pointed at the damaged area. "See these burn marks? They're too even. And these broken connectors here, they're snapped in exactly the same way. It almost looks deliberate." Rick's eyes widened. "You think they damaged their own ship? Why would they do that?" Frank shrugged. "I don't know, but I've been fixing things for 40 years and accidents are messy. This is too clean." Across the repair bay, Captain Summers was speaking with several station officials and Earth government representatives who had arrived on an emergency shuttle. The first official contact with an alien species was a big deal. Everyone wanted to be part of it. "We need to establish formal diplomatic protocols," a serious woman in a gray suit was saying. "There are procedures for this kind of situation." Olivia nodded, but her mind was elsewhere. She watched the aliens as they moved around their ship, showing parts of it to the human engineers. They seemed friendly enough, but there was something about the situation that didn't add up. Why travel 17 light-years past your own repair stations just to come here? She wondered aloud. "Captain?" called a voice from across the bay. It was Diane Porter, the lead repair technician. She was waving Olivia over to where she stood with several of the aliens. "You need to see this," Diane said when Olivia reached her. Her face was flushed with excitement. Diane led them into the alien ship through an open hatch. The interior was strange, with curved walls and a light that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. They walked through several chambers, before reaching what appeared to be an engine room. "This is their propulsion system," Diane explained, pointing to a complex arrangement of machinery. "It's amazing technology far beyond what we have, but the damage..." She pointed to a burned-out section. "It would take months to repair using their methods. They have these incredibly detailed repair manuals, but the procedures are so complex. Can we help them at all?" Olivia asked. Diane grinned. "That's just it. I think we can fix it in 2 weeks, maybe less. We'd need to improvise a bit, use some of our materials instead of waiting for theirs. But it should work." One of the aliens, not Zack still but another official, made a concerned sound. "Your approach would violate our standard procedures," it said in careful English. "There are safety protocols." Diane shrugged. "Sometimes you have to work with what you've got." The aliens looked at each other, their 4 eyes blinking in that strange sequence. Then Zack still stepped forward. "This is why we came to humans," the alien said. "This is exactly what we hope to find." As they left the engine room, Olivia noticed Frank Collins standing in a corner, watching everything with careful eyes. He gave her a small nod, confirming her own suspicions. The aliens had come here for a reason, and it wasn't just to fix their ship. The next morning, Diane Porter arrived at the repair bay early. She had barely slept. Her mind was full of ideas about how to fix the alien ship. The Vexari repair manuals were complex, with hundreds of steps for even simple fixes. But Diane saw shortcuts everywhere. She found 3 of the Vexari engineers already there. They stood perfectly still, their 4 eyes watching as she set up her tools. "Good morning," she said with a smile. "Ready to get to work?" The tallest alien made a gesture that might have been a greeting. "We are curious about your methods, Engineer Porter. They are not like ours." Diane laughed. "Call me Diane, and yeah, I bet they're not." She opened her tablet and showed them her plans. The aliens leaned forward, all 12 of their eyes fixed on the screen. "This is impossible," one of them said. Its voice was higher than the others, almost like a whistle. "You cannot replace the damaged quantum coil with this earth metal." "Why not?" Diane asked. "The properties are similar enough, it'll work." "It will fail within days," another alien said. Diane shrugged. "Then we'll fix it again, but I think it'll hold longer than you expect." The aliens chittered among themselves in their own language. They seemed upset or maybe just confused. Finally, they agreed to let her try it her way. As the day went on, more humans and aliens gathered to watch. Diane worked quickly, sometimes stopping to ask questions about how certain systems functioned. When she learned that a special welding tool was needed, one that would take weeks to arrive from the nearest Vexari outpost, she simply shook her head. "We can use this instead," she said, pulling out a modified earth tool. "We developed it for underwater repairs on the Atlantic seabed platforms. The principle is the same." "This violates 17 safety protocols," one of the aliens chittered nervously. "Yeah, but it'll work," Diane replied with a shrug. And it did work. By the end of the day, she had completed repairs that should have taken a week according to the Vexari manuals. Frank Collins watched from a distance. He stood next to Captain Summers, his arms crossed over his chest. "They're recording everything she does," he said quietly. "See those small devices they're carrying? They're not just watching, they're studying her." Olivia nodded. "I've noticed, but why? Their technology is more advanced than ours." "Technology, sure," Frank agreed, "but maybe not innovation. Did you see how shocked they were when she used the seabed welder? It's like they never considered using a tool for anything other than its original purpose." Over the next few days, the pattern continued. The human engineers found creative solutions to problems that would have taken the Vexari much longer to solve. Each time, the aliens watched with that same mixture of horror and fascination. By the end of the week, the damage to the main propulsion system was nearly repaired. Diane's team had worked almost non-stop, excited by the chance to learn about alien technology. "Let's test it," Diane suggested after connecting the final components. The Vexari engineers looked nervous. "Our protocols require a 48-hour waiting period before testing," High Engineer Zaxtiel said. "Why wait if it's ready?" Diane asked. "If there's a problem, we'll fix it." After some discussion, the aliens agreed. They powered up the system slowly while everyone watched. The repaired section hummed to life, glowing with a soft blue light. The Vexari checked their instruments, their 4 eyes blinking rapidly. "This is unexpected," Zaxtiel said finally. "The system is operating at 123% of its previous efficiency." A cheer went up from the human workers. Diane grinned widely. "How is this possible?" another Vexari asked. "The repairs do not follow standard procedure." "Sometimes the book doesn't have all the answers," Diane said. "You have to improvise." The word seemed new to the aliens. "Improvise," Zaxtiel repeated slowly. "This concept is important to humans?" "It's how we solve problems," Diane explained. "We work with what we have, not what we wish we had." That evening, Captain Summers hosted a small celebration in the station's mess hall. The repairs had been completed in just 9 days instead of the months everyone had expected. The Vexari joined the party, though they didn't eat or drink anything. They just watched the humans, still recording everything. Olivia found Frank at a table in the corner. He was nursing a cup of coffee and watching the aliens with suspicious eyes. "You still don't trust them?" she asked, sitting down beside him. Frank sighed. "It's not about trust, I'm just trying to understand their angle. Nobody travels 17 light years past their own repair stations unless they want something specific." "Maybe they just wanted their ship fixed faster," Olivia suggested. "Maybe," Frank agreed. "But I think they're after something else. Knowledge, maybe? They keep asking about how we think, how we solve problems." Across the room, several of the Vexari engineers had surrounded Diane. They were asking her questions about Earth's education system, about how humans learn to repair things. "Why do humans try methods that might fail?" one of the aliens asked. Diane thought for a moment. "Because sometimes they work, and when they do, we learn something new." "But failure is inefficient," the alien said. "Failure is how we learn," Diane countered. "Every failed attempt teaches us something we didn't know before." The aliens discussed this among themselves, their chittering voices excited. 2 days later, the Celestial Wanderer prepared to leave. The massive ship backed slowly out of the repair bay, its engines glowing with that soft blue light. "Thank you for your assistance," High Engineer Zaxtiel said during the farewell ceremony. "Your methods are enlightening. You're welcome back." "Any time," Captain Summers replied diplomatically. As the alien ship pulled away from the station, Olivia stood with Frank and Diane at the observation window, watching it go. "I have a feeling we'll be seeing more of them," Olivia said. Frank nodded. "And not just them. If word gets out about how quickly we fixed their ship..." "Word travels fast, even in space," Diane finished for him. None of them realized just how right they were. The Celestial Wanderer was only the beginning. 3 weeks after the Vexari ship left, life on Delta 9 had almost returned to normal. The excitement of first contact had faded. People still talked about the aliens, but the daily work of repairing Earth ships continued. Captain Olivia Summers was in her office reviewing maintenance schedules when the alarm sounded again. The same alarm that had announced the arrival of the Celestial Wanderer. "Another one?" she muttered, rising quickly from her desk. On the main deck, the crew was already at their stations. Sam Peters, the radar technician, looked up as Olivia entered. "It's another alien ship, Captain," he said. "Different design from the Vexari vessel. This one seems to be partially organic." Olivia looked at the main screen. The approaching ship was smaller than the Vexari craft, but still larger than any human vessel. Its hull appeared to be a mix of metal and something that looked almost like living tissue. It pulsed gently as if breathing. "They're sending a transmission," Mia Johnson called from communications. The screen changed to show a new alien. This one was shorter and wider than the Vexari, with smooth green skin and large bulbous eyes. When it spoke, its voice was deep and rumbling. "Greetings, humans of Delta 9. I am Captain Zoltark of the Mirazi vessel Living Tide. We request permission to dock for repairs." Olivia stepped forward. "This is Captain Summers. We welcome you to Earth space. May I ask how you know about our station?" The alien made a sound like gentle thunder. "Word spreads quickly among the stars. The Vexari speak highly of your unconventional methods. Within hours, the Mirazi ship was secured in a repair bay." The alien crew emerged cautiously. They seemed uncomfortable in the station's environment, their skin glistening with a thin layer of moisture. Frank Collins met Olivia near the docking area. "2 alien ships in a month," he said. "What are the odds?" "Not a coincidence," Olivia replied. "They said the Vexari told them about us." Frank nodded. "And look at their ship. The damages to their navigation system. They could have gone to any of 3 Mirazi outposts that we know about from their star charts. But they came here instead." Diane Porter and her team were already examining the damaged ship. The Mirazi technology was completely different from the Vexari's. Their systems were partly biological, with living components that had been injured rather than just damaged. "This is fascinating," Diane said as she studied the wounded navigation node. "It's like a blend of technology and living tissue. It requires special nutrients to heal," one of the Mirazi engineers explained. "The healing process takes many cycles of our sun." Diane thought for a moment. "What if we used a growth accelerator? The kind we've developed for medical regeneration?" The aliens looked at each other in surprise. "That is not in our repair protocols," the lead engineer said. Diane grinned. "Well, it's in ours now." Over the next few days, more of the station's crew became involved in the repairs. The Mirazi watched with the same fascination the Vexari had shown, recording everything the humans did. Meanwhile, Heather Rogers, the station's security officer, was becoming concerned. During a routine security sweep, she had detected unusual energy readings coming from a section of the station that had been empty since the Vexari visit. "I need access to the old storage area in Section 12, she told Olivia during their daily briefing. "What's wrong?" Olivia asked. "Maybe nothing," Heather replied, "but I'm picking up some strange readings. Could be a malfunction in the sensors, but I want to check it out." Olivia nodded. "Take Gary Washington with you. He knows the systems better than anyone." Heather and Gary made their way to Section 12. It was a rarely used area of the station, filled with old equipment and spare parts. The lights flickered on automatically as they entered. "The readings are coming from behind that wall panel," Heather said, pointing to a section of the wall. Gary opened the panel and peered inside. His eyes widened. "This definitely isn't ours." Inside the wall was a small device, about the size of a fist. It glowed with a soft blue light, the same color as the Vexari ship's engines. "Some kind of transmitter," Gary said as he examined it. "It's sending data somewhere." "Can you tell what kind of data?" Heather asked. Gary connected his tablet to the device. It's everything. Station schematics, repair procedures, crew profiles. And look at this." He pointed to a string of code on his screen. "It's transmitting on a frequency that can be detected from several light years away." The Vexari left it, Heather realized. "They've been spying on us." "Not exactly spying," Gary said, still studying the device. "More like observing. There's no classified data here, just information about how we do repairs, how we solve problems." By the time they reported back to Olivia, the Mirazi repairs were almost complete. Diane's team had used the medical regenerator to accelerate the healing of the organic components. What should have taken weeks had been accomplished in days. So the Vexari left a recording device, Olivia said thoughtfully after hearing Heather and Gary's report. And now the Mirazi show up, asking for our help. It's not just those two species, Frank added. I've been talking to the Mirazi engineers. They mentioned that at least 3 other species are planning to visit Delta 9 for repairs. But why? Olivia asked. Their technology is more advanced than ours. The answer came a week later, when a small, fast ship arrived at the station. It was from the Diplomatic Division of Earth's United Space Administration. The officials on board looked serious. Captain Summers, the lead diplomat, said, "We need to talk about these alien visits." In the station's conference room, the diplomat explained the situation. In the last month, we've received requests from 14 different alien species for permission to visit Earth repair facilities. Not just Delta 9, but all of our stations. 14? Olivia was shocked. Why the sudden interest? The diplomat played a recording. It showed a Jurioyan ship, a crystalline vessel that sparkled in the light of a distant sun. The Jurioyan captain was explaining why they were traveling to Earth instead of using their own repair facilities. The humans have a different way of seeing problems, the captain said. Its voice was musical like crystal bells. They do not follow rigid procedures. They improvise. This concept is valuable to us. Very valuable. After the meeting, Olivia found Frank and Diane in the mess hall. You were right, she told Frank. They're not just coming here for repairs. They're coming here to learn how we think. Frank nodded. We may not have the most advanced technology, but we have something. They don't. Creativity, Diane said. The ability to try new things, to fail, to learn from those failures. As they spoke, another alarm sounded. Not the proximity alarm this time, but a different one. Now what? Olivia sighed. The announcement came over the station's speakers. Incoming transmission from the diplomatic courier of the nth dimension. Collective. They're requesting emergency repairs. Olivia looked at Frank and Diane. All 3 of them smiled. Here we go again, Olivia said. 3 months later, Delta 9 was no longer just a repair station. It had become a busy hub of interstellar activity. 6 different alien ships were currently docked for repairs, and more were waiting in line. The station had to expand quickly. To handle all the new visitors, Earth's government had called in experts from all fields to study the situation. One of these experts was Dr. Kyle Bennett, a xenoanthropologist who specialized in understanding alien cultures. Dr. Bennett was a tall man with a short beard and kind eyes. He spent his first week on Delta 9 just watching the interactions between humans and aliens. He observed how the repair teams worked, how the aliens responded, and how problems were solved. On his 8th day, he requested a meeting with Captain Summers. I think I understand why they're all coming here, he said when they met in Olivia's office. It's not just about our repair techniques. It's about how our brains work. Olivia leaned forward. What do you mean? I've been studying the species that have visited so far, Dr. Bennett explained. The Vexari evolved in underground cave systems with very stable environments. The Mirazi developed in symbiotic colonies where every action affected the whole group. The Jurioyan's crystalline biology requires perfect symmetry and balance. And what does that tell us? Olivia asked. It tells us why they think so differently from humans, Dr. Bennett said. These species all evolved in environments that rewarded careful planning, strict adherence to patterns, and risk avoidance. Any deviation could mean death for their ancestors. He pulled out a tablet and showed Olivia some images. But humans, we evolved as adaptable generalists on a planet with wildly changing weather, geography, and co-inhabitants. Our ancestors survived because they could try new things when the old ways stopped working. Olivia considered this. So you're saying they physically can't think the way we do, even though they're intelligent? Exactly, Dr. Bennett nodded. Their brains are wired for precision and consistency. Ours are wired for adaptation and improvisation. It's not better or worse, just different. But in certain situations, like unexpected breakdowns, our way works better, Olivia finished. Much better, Dr. Bennett agreed. That's why they're willing to travel so far to reach us. They're not coming to steal our technology. They have better tech than us in many ways. They're coming because they literally cannot think the way we do. As if to prove Dr. Bennett's point, something happened that same day in Repair Bay 3. The Nth Dimension Collective's ship had a problem with its quantum field stabilizer, a device that no human fully understood. It was advanced technology that even the aliens struggled to explain. Lisa Martinez, one of the newer engineers on the station, was eating lunch near the stabilizer while the alien engineers discussed the problem in their clicking, buzzing language. As she stood up to leave, she accidentally dropped her sandwich. It fell directly into an open panel on the stabilizer. There was a brief flash of light. Everyone froze, expecting a disaster. But instead, the stabilizer's display showed green across the board. It was working perfectly. The Nth Dimension engineers crowded around, their eye stalks waving in excitement. "How did you know to do that?" one of them asked Lisa. I didn't," she admitted. "I dropped my sandwich by accident." The aliens conferred among themselves, then turned back to her. "The organic particles from your food created a resonance pattern that stabilized the quantum field. This solution has eluded our scientists for centuries." Lisa blinked in surprise. "Really? It was just an accident." "A fortunate accident," the alien replied. "One that our species would never have experienced because we would never consume food near sensitive equipment. It is against all safety protocols." Word of the sandwich incident spread quickly around the station. When Dr. Bennett heard about it, he included it in his report to Earth's government. "Humans see accidents as learning opportunities," he wrote. "Many species consider accidents only as failures. This fundamental difference in perspective gives humanity a unique advantage in problem solving." Meanwhile, the government was dealing with the political aspects of the situation. 14 alien species were now regular visitors to Earth's repair facilities. Each of them brought new technology, new ideas, and new opportunities for trade. Earth's economy was booming from the Yori exchange of knowledge and resources. But some people were worried. What if the aliens were just using humans? What if they were secretly gathering information for a future invasion? A group of government officials arrived at Delta 9 to assess the situation. They were led by a serious woman named Director Julia Ward. She called a meeting with Captain Summers, Dr. Bennett, and several other key personnel. "We need to understand the security implications," Director Ward said. "These aliens are studying us, learning how we think." "Yes," Dr. Bennett agreed, "but not for the reasons you fear. They admire our thinking. They can't replicate it themselves because their brains don't work the same way." "Can we be sure of that?" Director Ward asked. Frank Collins, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. "I think we can. I've been watching them carefully. They're genuinely amazed by what we can do. When Diane fixed the Minarese ship in 2 days, instead of 2 months, they were shocked. When Lisa solved a centuries-old problem by dropping a sandwich, well, they couldn't believe it." Director Ward still looked unconvinced. "But why leave recording devices? Why study us so closely?" "Because they're trying to understand creativity," Dr. Bennett explained. "Imagine if you met a species that could do something you found impossible, like breathe underwater or see in the dark. Wouldn't you want to study them? Learn from them?" The meeting continued for hours. By the end, Director Ward seemed less concerned, though still cautious. "We'll proceed with these interactions," she said, "but we'll set up an oversight committee to monitor all technology and information exchanges." As the government officials prepared to leave, an engineer rushed into the room. It was Rick Adams, looking excited. "Captain, you need to see this," he said. "The Jurioians just showed us how their crystalline propulsion system works. If we can adapt this technology for our ships, we could reach the outer planets in days instead of months." Director Ward raised an eyebrow. "It seems the exchange of knowledge goes both ways." After everyone left, Olivia stood alone at the observation window, looking out at the alien ships docked at her station. She thought about what Dr. Bennett had said about different ways of thinking. "They have the technology," she murmured to herself. "But we have the creativity. Together, we might go further than either of us could alone." Behind her, another alarm sounded. Yet another alien ship was arriving at Delta 9. 2 years passed quickly. The small repair station known as Delta 9 had grown into a massive complex. 4 new docking bays had been added, each designed to handle the largest alien vessels. Similar facilities were being built at Earth's Lagrange, points and on the Moon. Captain Olivia Summers was now Admiral Summers in charge of all Earth's repair operations. She stood in her new office looking out at the busy activity through the large window. Dozens of ships from many different species moved carefully around the expanded station. "Admiral," her assistant called from the doorway, "the Earth Council is ready for your report." Olivia nodded and turned to the large screen on her wall. It flickered to life, showing the faces of Earth's leaders. "Admiral Summers," the Council President said with a smile. "Tell us how things are progressing at the Interstellar Repair Hub." "Very well, Madam President," Olivia replied. "In the past month alone, we've serviced ships from 23 different species. Our repair teams are working around the clock." "And the economic benefits?" another counselor asked. "Better than we expected," Olivia said. "The aliens pay premium rates for our intuitive services, as they call them, and each repair teaches us more about their technology." The meeting continued for an hour, with Olivia explaining the latest developments. When it was over, she went to find Frank Collins. Frank had officially retired last year, but he still came to the station most days. He liked to sit in the observation lounge and watch the repairs in progress. That's where Olivia found him, nursing a cup of coffee and observing a team working on a Vixari cruiser. "Still keeping an eye on everything?" she asked, sitting beside him. Frank smiled. "Old habits die hard. Besides, I like to see how the young ones are doing." They sat in comfortable silence for a while, watching the repair team. Diane Porter was now the chief engineer for the entire hub. She was training a group of new engineers, showing them how to interface human tools with alien technology. "Did you ever think we'd end up here?" Olivia asked. "When that first ship arrived?" Frank shook his head. "Never. I was too busy being suspicious to see the possibilities." "You were right to be cautious," Olivia said, "but I'm glad it worked out the way it did." Later that day, Olivia received word that a special visitor had arrived. The Vixari High Chancellor, the leader of their entire civilization, had come to tour the facility. The High Chancellor was taller than other Vixari, with skin that shimmered with a blue-green light. When Olivia met him in the diplomatic reception area, he made a deep bow. "Admiral Summers," he said in a musical voice. "It is an honor to meet the human who started this great exchange between our peoples." "The honor is mine, High Chancellor," Olivia replied. "Though I can't take credit for what happened. It was a team effort." The High Chancellor asked for a tour of the station. As they walked, he explained why the Vixari had come to Earth in the first place. "We detected your radio signals for over a century before making contact," he said. "Your fiction, what you call MacGyver and Apollo 13, these we thought were exaggerations. When our ships first observed humans repairing your International Space Station using what appeared to be duct tape, we realized your species possessed something precious that the galaxy had lost long ago. Beautiful, chaotic creativity." Olivia laughed. "Duct tape has saved more missions than I can count." They stopped at a viewing window overlooking Repair Bay 2. Inside, a team led by Lisa Martinez, now a senior engineer after her famous sandwich incident, was working on a ship from a newly contacted species. The aliens watched in fascination as Lisa improvised a solution using parts from 3 different worlds. "See how they solved the problem?" the High Chancellor said, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly. "They try things that should not work but somehow do. My people would never think to combine components in such a way." "It's just how we think," Olivia said. The High Chancellor turned to her. "It is more than that. It is why we chose your repair bays, why all species now come to you. Your greatest technology is not your tools but your minds." That evening, a celebration was held in the station's main hall. Representatives from 14 alien species mingled with humans, sharing stories and ideas. Dr. Bennett moved among them, still studying the cultural exchanges with fascination. He found Olivia standing with Frank, watching the crowd. "The Galactic Council meeting is next month," Dr. Bennett said. "Earth will be formally recognized as a member." "About time," Frank said with a smile. "We've been fixing their ships for 2 years now." "It's more than that," Dr. Bennett explained. Our position as the galaxy's repair hub has created an unexpected advantage. No species wants to antagonize the civilization they might need to save their ships during an emergency. Peace through practical necessity, Olivia mused. I like it. Across the room, Diane was showing a group of young aliens and humans how to create an emergency patch using materials from 3 different worlds. Her hands moved quickly, weaving together the different components. The aliens watched with that familiar mixture of horror and fascination, while the human students nodded in understanding. I remember when High Engineer Zaxtil first watched me work, Diane told them. He couldn't believe I was breaking all those safety protocols. But sometimes the best solution isn't the most elegant one. It's the one that gets you home. Later, as the celebration wound down, Olivia found herself back at the observation window, looking out at the stars. Frank joined her there, along with Diane, Lisa, and Dr. Bennett. I asked Zaxtil once why they recorded everything we did, Diane said. He told me they were trying to understand our intuitive leaps. They can follow our steps, but they can't see how we jump from problem to solution. It's like trying to explain color to someone who can only see in black and white, Dr. Bennett added. They understand the concept, but they can't experience it themselves. So we're the creative consultants of the galaxy, Lisa said with a laugh. More than that, Frank said quietly. We're the problem solvers, the fixers, the ones who look at a broken thing and see all the ways it might be fixed. Outside the window, a new ship was approaching the station. Its design was unlike any they had seen before, a new species coming to Earth for help. Here we go again, Olivia said with a smile. The story of humanity's rise as the galaxy's premier repair specialists became legendary, told in spaceports and on long-haul freighters throughout the stars. Alien ships continued choosing human repair bays not because humans had the most advanced technology, but because they approached problems with a creativity born from millennia of chaotic adaptation, seeing possibilities where other species saw only obstacles. And as humanity spread among the stars, they carried their most valuable export, the ability to look at a broken thing and imagine all the improbable ways it might be mended.